I'm 73 years old, and I'm about to say something that might make you uncomfortable. Everything you've been taught about aging, about time, success, and someday is wrong. Not slightly wrong, completely wrong. And the most disturbing part is this: the people who were supposed to warn you, your parents, your teachers, society itself, either didn't know the truth or were too afraid to admit it. I know this because I believed the same story for most of my life. For more than 50 years, I thought I understood how life worked. You work hard, you sacrifice, you delay happiness, and one day, if you're disciplined enough, you're rewarded. I did everything right. I built a career. I earned respect. I checked all the boxes that were supposed to lead to fulfillment. And then at 52 years old, my body forced me to confront a truth I had been running from my entire life. It happened during an ordinary workday. I was sitting in a conference room talking about numbers that don't matter anymore when the world tilted. My chest tightened. The room blurred. The next clear memory I have is opening my eyes in a hospital bed, machines humming, tubes in my arms. The doctors called it a cardiac event, a polite phrase for something much simpler. My heart nearly stopped. They told me I was lucky. And at the time, that word felt almost insulting. Lucky? I had just stared death in the face. But lying there, staring at the ceiling, with nothing but time and fear for company, I realized something that still chills me to this day. They were right. Because that moment did something no promotion, no achievement, no milestone ever had. It stripped away every illusion I'd been living under. I saw my life clearly for the first time, and what I saw terrified me. I hadn't been living, I had been performing. Every day was a routine: wake up, work, chase the next goal, repeat. I told myself I was building a future, but the truth was simpler. I was postponing my life. And if my heart had failed that day, if that hospital room had been the end, what would I have actually left behind? A house someone else would eventually live in. A career people would forget within a few years. Achievements that looked impressive on paper, but meant nothing in the quiet moments. That's when I realized the most dangerous lie we all tell ourselves. I have time. I hear it everywhere, from people in their 20s, their 30s, their 40s. Later, after this phase, once things settle down, you tell yourself happiness is something you earn after sacrifice, that living comes after responsibility. Let me save you decades of regret with one hard truth. That moment never arrives, because the finish line keeps moving. You reach one goal and another replaces it. You make more money and suddenly your lifestyle demands more. You get recognition and now you need validation to maintain it. You're always chasing, always delaying, always convincing yourself that real life starts tomorrow. I spent 3 decades climbing a ladder with absolute determination, only to realize at the top that it was leaning against the wrong wall. And here's the cruel part no one warned you about. You don't get unlimited chances to climb back down and start over. Time doesn't reset. It only moves forward. Here's something else nobody tells you early enough. Success is a terrible destination. I say that as someone who reached it. I achieved the things I set out to achieve: titles, status, financial security. And each time I reached a milestone, I felt incredible for a day or two. Then the feeling faded, and I was left restless, unsatisfied, needing the next win. It's a cycle, a treadmill disguised as progress. A close friend of mine died at 68. Brilliant man, built a business from nothing, worked endlessly, always said he'd slow down next year. Next year never came. A stroke took him without warning. At his funeral, his son stood up and said something I'll never forget. My father was successful, but I didn't really know him. That sentence should haunt you because when people reach the end of their lives, their regrets are rarely about failure. They're about absence, the trips not taken, the conversations postponed, the love left unspoken, the risks avoided out of fear. I don't lose sleep over mistakes I made at work. Those are irrelevant now. What stays with me are the moments I delayed and never recovered, the journey I canceled because I was too busy, the relationship I neglected because it felt inconvenient, the book idea I never started, the evenings I missed with my children because I told myself I'd make it up to them later. Later is fragile. Later is not guaranteed. You assume the people you love will always be there, your parents, your siblings, your friends. You believe time with them is abundant. It isn't. My father died when I was 45. We had unresolved things between us, conversations I kept postponing, assuming we'd have more chances when life slowed down. One morning, he was gone, just like that. And what haunted me afterward weren't the arguments we had. It was the ordinary Sundays I skipped, the phone calls I didn't make, the small efforts I decided could wait. They couldn't. After my heart attack, I changed my life in ways I never thought I would. I stepped back from work. I stopped saying yes out of obligation and no out of fear. I started choosing deliberately. And in the 21 years since then, I've learned more about living than I did in the 5 decades before. What truly matters is painfully simple. Time with people you love. Work that feels meaningful to you, not impressive to others. Experiences instead of possessions. Presence instead of constant distraction. I know how this sounds. When I was younger, I would have dismissed it as idealistic nonsense. That's easy to say when you're older, I would have thought. I have responsibilities, and you do. I'm not telling you to abandon your life. I'm telling you not to trade it away. Ask yourself this, honestly, without excuses. If your life ended tomorrow, would you feel at peace with how you've lived so far? Not whether others would praise you, not whether your resume looks good, but whether you, alone with your thoughts, would feel satisfied. If the answer is no, then what exactly are you waiting for? Every day, whether you acknowledge it or not, you are closer to the end. So are the people you love. This isn't meant to frighten you. It's meant to wake you up. Youth creates the illusion of permanence. Age removes it. I have grandchildren now, and when I look at them, I see the same patterns repeating. Stress, anxiety, constant striving. They think their generation is different, that the old warnings don't apply. I don't blame them. When you're inside the storm, you can't see its shape. That's why I'm speaking now, because maybe someone listening will hear this early enough to choose differently. If I could sit across from my 30-year-old self, this is what I would say. Stop trying to impress people who won't matter to you in 20 years. Stop sacrificing your health for approval. Stop delaying joy until some imaginary future. Call your parents more. Take the trip. Say the thing you're afraid to say. Do the work that scares you because it matters. Say no when your energy is drained. Say yes when your soul feels alive. Most of all, start now, not next year, not after this phase, not when conditions are perfect. They never will be. I'm 73 years old. If I'm fortunate, I have some years ahead of me, but I'm at peace with that because these last 2 decades, when I finally understood that time is finite, have been the richest of my life. Not because I earned more, but because I lived more deliberately. That's the irony no one tells you. When you accept that time is limited, life becomes fuller. You stop wasting it. You stop postponing meaning. You stop waiting for permission. You have a choice today. Keep doing what you're doing, hoping someday arrives. Or wake up and realize that someday has always been now. Learn from my mistakes, live intentionally, value what matters, stop waiting, because one day you'll be 73 too, asking yourself where the years went. And by then, the answer will already be written.